The deadline has just passed for a vote in the US Congress to keep government funding flowing. The bill has not passed, which means the US government is now in shutdown for the first time in 6 years. Here to tell us more is Charles Hunt, who's Associate Professor of Political Science from Boise State University in Idaho. Welcome to you, Charles.
Thank you, Roz.
Thanks for staying up. Now, was it a close vote?
It was a somewhat close vote. There were a few Democrats who are in the minority in the Senate who decided to support the continuing resolution, which would have continued funding the government at its current levels for a short period of time while the two parties negotiated a more permanent solution. But not enough of them joined in, and one Republican, Rand Paul, also voted against the legislation. So they're going to need at least a few more Democrats if they're going to have any hope of ending the shutdown anytime soon.
Okay, and what were the main sticking points between Republicans and Democrats?
Well, Democrats have said that their main argument revolves around some of the health care subsidies that came from the Affordable Care Act that passed under President Obama about a little over a decade ago. These are set to expire at the end of the year and would significantly drive up health care costs for a large number of Americans if it weren't extended. But I do think this is part of a larger pushback that the Democrats are undergoing against the Trump administration that they feel has really overstepped its bounds. And so I think, the healthcare subsidies are the point that they're sticking to in their arguments. But I do think this is part of a larger upswell of support for Democrats taking more drastic actions against the Trump administration and finding some leverage finally where they can.
So what does this shutdown mean in terms of how government departments and agencies can operate? How's it going to affect US citizens?
Some departments and agencies can continue to operate. In fact, most of them will continue to operate in some fashion, but with basically a skeleton crew, just a thin number of people supporting the agency's functions. The majority of government workers in a lot of these agencies will be furloughed until the shutdown is over. There are some government workers that will continue to work without pay until the shutdown is over. So, active duty military will obviously continue to work. Transportation security agencies, so airport security in the U.S., that will continue to happen. But the longer this shutdown goes, the more workers will be furloughed and the more services Americans will start to see sort of fall under the radar and no longer be executed.
Charles, there are reports that Donald Trump could use this period to fire some government employees. Is that a real concern?
It is a real concern. I mean, I think especially following the initial first few months of his administration earlier this year, where the so-called Department of Government Efficiency efforts that were, of course, led by the tech entrepreneur Elon Musk, resulted in the mass firings of a number of workers or sort of forced resignations. And more recently, as of last week, Russell Vought, the director of the Office of Management and Budget in the White House, has said explicitly that rather than just furloughing workers, so laying them off temporarily and then bringing them back after the shutdown, the White House is going to be looking to make these more permanent firings and using the opportunity to their advantage, since reducing the government workforce drastically has been a day one priority of them. And so that's another reason Democrats, I think, are really starting to push back.
Yeah. There have been government shutdowns before. How does this one compare to those of the past?
It's hard to say just yet. The longest government shutdown the U.S. ever had was under the first Trump administration. It lasted, I think, around 25 days, and it sort of spanned 2018 to 2019. There's no telling really just yet how long this will go. It depends how long the Democrats can hold out for and whether they will get any of those concessions or guarantees. But I do think there are a couple of new things, including the second Trump administration's actions around these mass firings. That adds a new layer of consequence to the shutdown that I think was not there in previous government shutdowns under President Trump or previously under Presidents Obama or Bush.
So what's going to get funds flowing again? Is there another scheduled vote on the budget? And is it a case of who blinks first?
It's certainly a case of who blinks first. I think it's a question of which side is feeling like they are gaining or losing more leverage as we go forward. It's important to remember that the Republicans control the presidency, they control the U.S. House, which is our lower chamber, and the U.S. Senate, which is our upper chamber in Congress. But the problem is they cannot pass a piece of legislation, a budget, these appropriations bills, without some Democratic support in the Senate. They need more than just a simple majority. And so, if the Democrats can sort of endure the pain of this, then they can hold out for a while. But the longer the government stays shut down, the more that regular Americans are going to start feeling the pain. And then the question is going to turn to, well, whose fault is this really? And I think you can bet that Donald Trump and the Democrats are going to have it out to quite a degree over that.